Welcome to the Joy of Coding.
Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the Joy of Coding. We're almost at 50. I feel like we should do something special at 50. I don't know what it'll be yet. Maybe I'll wear a funny hat. I always promise a funny hat. We'll see. Maybe one of these days I'll deliver. Welcome to the Joy of Coding. My name's Mike Conley. We're going to be hacking on Firefox again today. It's going to be a great day. What are we up to? Let me show you. Let me flip screens. And hopefully we're recording and my mic works. I'm just checking here. If for some reason like my mic cuts out or anything, let me know in the IRC channel or on Twitter or in any way you can communicate with me. The last couple of weeks we've been having problems with microphones and recording. So this week I am recording. I do see the little view meter ticking while I'm talking, so I think we're okay. I'm switching now to my screen. I think you can still hear me. I hope you can still hear me. I happen to be looking at mazillions.org. I don't know why, but there I am. Okay, I think we're all right, and hopefully you can still hear sounds. Yep. Okay, what are we doing today? Today is February 17th. Bam! Reminder that no plan survives breakfast, even though I kind of have a sense of what I want to do today. I don't know if I'll get all the way through it, and we might get ourselves stuck in a quagmire. That often happens. We get in a quagmire or something, or I get lost down a rabbit hole. But we're going to try and fix some bugs. And move forward a little bit. So we've done this part. I am recording and my mic's working. We're going to try fixing these two bugs today. I've already started on the second one. I started on it late last week. Mike Taylor says the sound sounds good. So thank you, Mike Taylor. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to do my work.
I can't do my work.
So I'm glad that we've got sound.
That's right.
So that's good. These are the two bugs I'm interested in working on today. And then maybe if we get through those, which I highly doubt, but we'll see. You never know. I've got some reviews I could do as well. And I also have this link here for you to rate this episode. So I've been receiving feedback on the things you like seeing, the things you don't like seeing, and that's great stuff. And I want to hear more. So let me know what I can do to make this episode, these episodes, this entire series better for you by using this link here to rate this episode. And if this whole agenda thing here is just on your screen on the video, and so clicking on this probably does nothing for you because you're looking at a video. However, if you scroll down, if you're watching this on Air Mozilla, there's an additional links section with this agenda built into it. You click on the link in the additional links for the agenda, and you'll go right to this page, and it has all these handy-dandy links, and you can go where you need to go. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be in the description. If you're watching this on my blog, which I doubt you're watching it on my blog, because I haven't updated my blog in a while, but if you are watching it on my blog, if I haven't gotten up my butt and written a blog post and put this video in, it's probably somewhere around the video. Alright, let's get started. So here's the bug I'm interested in working on. This is going to be tricky. This might take the entire episode, and part of me wonders if it would be better to work on this other bug first, because this is further along. You know what? Maybe we'll do that. I'm going to reorder this a little bit. I'm going to look at this bug first. Because there's already some work done on it. It's already sort of, there's a patch. I've gotten some review feedback, and I need to address that review feedback. And then we'll see if we can push that through, and then we'll get started on this other one. So what is this bug? Let's take a look at this bug. So, I don't know if you know this, but if you go into your About Preferences, under Advanced, General, Accessibility, there's this toggle. This is off by default, but you have the ability to get a warning if users attempt to redirect or reload the page. And what does that look like? Well, I can show you, because now that I've toggled that preference, if I go to a page that uses, like, in HTML you can have these meta tags in the head that will cause a page reload or page refresh. This is one such page. And as soon as I visit it, instead of reloading, it says it will reload after 5 seconds. If you look at the source, you can see the meta refresh tag in here, and it's like waiting for 5 seconds, and then it's going to redirect me. But Nightly prevents this, and that's what I fixed recently. That used to work just for non-E10S, and now it works for E10S, and now I can like allow the refresh manually, without having it occur automatically. That's good. I'm glad that works. However, there's another way that pages can refresh themselves, and that is using HTTP headers. So again, if we look at the let's look at an example. If you go to mxr.mozilla.org and I search for something, remember I have that preference set. Nothing happens. I get to this page where nothing occurs, and that's weird. And what's going on is, if you look at the network, I'm going to reload the page and we can take a look at the network. I do a get on this find endpoint with the nonsense text I put in, and when I get back, here, let me get rid of the console here. Why do I have the console at the bottom? Get rid of you. What I get back in the response headers, I don't know if you can see this. Can I bump this up a little? What I get back in the response headers is there's this header down here for refresh 0, and then the URL for the actual, like, I don't know why MXR does this, but apparently this is a thing that sites can do. They can tell you to do a refresh in the HTTP header. And that's the case that's broken with E10S right now. And the reason for that is a little complicated. I'll get into it later. But what's interesting is that this works for non-E10S. If I go to non-E10S and go to mxr.mozilla.org and search for a thing, I get the warning as I should, and I can allow it. And that's no problem. And I've done some tracing around, and we do the work. We actually do the work to send the message to the parent to say, okay, now show me the notification bar. But the problem is that the bar is closed right away, and I'll show you why that occurs later. But those are the two cases we need to be able to support. Meta tags that do the refresh, and then HTTP tags, sorry, not tags, HTTP header entries here that will do the refresh. And this is the one that's failing for E10S. Fun fact, the HTTP header case has been broken in non-E10S and E10S for a long time. If you've had this preference set to warn, this has been broken for a long time. I don't know how long. Maybe it's actually never worked. Like let me open up release and I'll show you. I'm going to open up release. We're going to go to about preferences. We're going to flip that pref, and then I'm going to go to mxr.mozilla.org. Search, and I'm reasonably certain, yeah, nowhere. And that's on release. That's currently out there. And this particular case has probably been busted for a long time from the looks of things. Which sucks. That blows. There's probably been bugs filed about it. And people didn't know what was up. And now we have the opportunity to fix it. The good news is that I've actually fixed it for, like I said, the non-E10S case. I actually fixed that accidentally. I fixed the non-E10S case. And so now it's a matter of fixing the E10S case. Now how do I... There we go. I need to get the sizes right again. So what's broken? Why is this broken? I actually explain it in the bug. So this is bug 1246291, and there's a link in my agenda if you're interested in following along in the bug. But the reason that this is broken is because of the way that we detect when refreshes are attempted, and then the way we behave whenever the location changes if we browse to a different page. So here's what goes on. We have these things. Sorry, I'm not even plugged in. My laptop is going to run out of power in a second. Let me plug myself in. I won't run out of power. I'm at 77%, but like that bothers me. I don't like running out of batteries. So we have this thing called an NSI Web Progress Listener. And in the case, what that is it's a thing that you can register to listen to for changes to a browser's activities. Like anytime a browser will do something, like it'll change its location or change its security setting or change its state, or the progress of downloading things will change, or it'll attempt to refresh itself. All those sorts of things you can register to notify using one of these web progress listener things. And the order that these things fire in, it turns out, will be different depending on the type of refresh that's occurring. So if in the E10S case, if we get a refresh occurring, if we get a refresh occurring due to the HTTP header setting refresh, then we get a state change, a status change, then we detect that refresh was attempted, then we say that the location was changed, and then we do all these other things. That's the order of events. Now, if you get this refresh directive from a meta tag, the order is different. You get the state change, you get the status change, then you get the location change, then the security change, and then the refresh is attempted. Because, like, looking at the HTML document tags occurs after we've already changed the location, apparently. Whereas looking at the HTTP headers, that occurs before the location has changed. Don't ask me why that is. That's just the way it is. Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun. That's just the way it is.
That's right.
And unfortunately, all of this logic is down in DocShell. Which means that it's very, very difficult to reason about. It's hard to know. Like, and probably not safe to change this order. Like, part of me thought whenever I first saw this, well, why don't we just make it so that we defer refresh attempted until after the location's changed? It's looking like that would be kind of difficult, and fragile and brittle, and there's a bunch of code piled on top of DocShell that might be depending on the order of events here. I really don't want to rock the boat too much. DocShell is one of those tricky pieces of code where it's like Jenga. You pull out a piece and you hope the tower doesn't fall. So, what's the solution? Well, I came up with a solution, and that solution was, well, let's go back to this list. Whenever these on somethings, like these on handlers fire, they're passed what's called an NSI web progress. And that's or is it a progress? NSI web progress? Let me quickly check what they're passed. It's either it might be an NSI web request. No, it's a web progress. That web progress is a representation of the, what is an NSI web progress? Do we have some documentation? It's the thing that we're listening to. It's basically the thing that we've been listening to as it's progressing. The refresh is attempted, the location's changing on this web progress thing. And that's part of a request, a web request. And what I was thinking of was, whenever we see an on refresh attempted, return to, like, whenever the doc loader sends the on refresh attempted message down, anyone that's listening to that, listening for this signal on refresh attempted, can return false if we don't want the refresh to go through, which is the case where we block the refresh from occurring, and that's good. The problem, so part of understanding this is realizing that there's code in the parent process, or there's code that proxies all these messages between the content and the parent. That's the first thing. And that we use messages to do that. And that in the parent, there's a listener for the on-location change event, message, whatever you want to call it, that will clear any notification bars. Which makes sense, because oftentimes the notification bar, if you've ever seen a notification bar that's telling you about Flash, for example, like if I go to Homestar Runner and I don't know, what's something that's going to bring up a notification bar? I can't think of something. I thought Flash would do it, but I was wrong. It has to be a hidden. Well, here, I'll mess around with it. I will make the element super tiny. So object, I'm going to make the width 10px, height 10px, important. Do it. Just do it. Why won't you do it? Okay, instead of that, I'll make your visibility hidden. How about that? No? Come on, what do I need to do here? Center, make your visibility hidden. Seriously? There's a way of doing it where you have like hidden Flash plugins. If you go to a page where there's like a Flash plugin, but the element is so small that we can't show this UI for click to play, then we'll show a notification bar. And then when you browse away from the page, keeping that notification bar open. Sorry, I got there's something. I'm sitting on something. I don't know what it is. This chair is a bit odd. Whenever you browse away, it makes sense to clear those notification bars. Those notification bars don't apply to the page that you're going to anymore. And so there's code in the parent that will attempt to clear any what's called transient notification bars whenever you change location. The problem is that when the refresh is attempted in the HTTP header case, we send up the message to the parent saying, show the notification bar for blocking the refresh, and then we send up the on-location change, which clears the transient notifications, which gets rid of our notification bar. So what we're left with is having blocked the refresh for the user in the ESNS case, and having gotten rid of the notification bar, dismissed it, so the user has no ability to allow the refresh to occur. And that's the problem. And in the case where we're looking at meta tags, well, the location change occurs before the on refresh attempted. So we clear the notification bars, then we get the message to show the notification bar, and we're okay. So this case works all right. It's this first case that's busted. And so I was thinking, so this web progress thing that's being passed through all of these different handlers, it's the same one. They're all getting the same one. And if on refresh attempted, any of the listeners return false, which means to block the refresh. I was thinking that we could like mark the web progress so that it says, okay, the refresh was blocked. And that way, whenever on location change is called, how's this going to work? Whenever we send the messages up to the parent and the parent realizes it hears about the on location change, how will this work? Now I'm thinking that this was the wrong choice. My original choice might be wrong, because we do want to clear any transient. If we've gone to a page, alright, here's the scenario. We're at page 1. Page 1 has shown us some notification bars. Maybe it's got like a hidden Flash plugin. We go to page 2, which causes us to do a refresh in the HTTP header. Here's the thing. We have to clear those notifications from the first page we were on. So that does need to happen, where we clear the transient notifications. So we almost need to like defer handling of on refresh attempted. And yet, that's so weird. Let's take a look at the patches I wrote. So the first patch I wrote was a change that would allow us to mark the... Oh, excuse me. I just had lunch. It will allow us to mark the web progress to say that the refresh was blocked. And it like set this member variable and would hold on to that. And I had this other patch such that if the refresh was blocked in the child, then we would proxy that value up to the parent. And then in the parent, whenever we were filtering out, when we're about to do the clearing, like this is the thing that clears the notifications. This is right here where we remove the transient notifications, but I said if the refresh was blocked, then don't. We just bail out early, because we do some other filtering out here as well. Except I just realized that we have that case where the first tab might be showing notifications, and so we have to clear those. So how do we do that? How do we make it so that even if we hear the on refresh attempted first, that will cause the refresh attempted notification to display after the location is changed? I'm thinking. So here's what I'm thinking of. The problem we're attempting to solve is an inconsistency in ordering, where you have something, sometimes A happens first, sometimes B happens first, and you only want to sometimes A happens first, sometimes B happens first, and if A happens first, you want to do a thing, but only after B has executed. So sometimes A happens first, and you have to wait for B to execute before you can do the thing you want to do. But sometimes B executes first, and then so when A runs, you're okay to do the thing you want to do. That's the general problem. Maybe I should write that down. Where is this? So the general problem is that on refresh attempted and on location change don't necessarily run in the same. Sometimes run. How do I want to word this? Is that for on refresh attempted and on location change, we're not always consistent with which one runs first in the parent process. No, which one runs first between the HTTP header case and the meta tag case. On refresh attempted runs first in HTTP header case. On location change runs first in meta tag case. But we only ever want to show the notification in the parent after both have run. Idea. Have the on location change handler in the parent call the refresh blocker thing. If the refresh blocker thing passing the web progress, NSI web progress. If the refresh blocker had seen that same NSI web progress and had seen us block that refresh, then kick off the notification. Call the refresh blocker thing after it has cleared any transient notifications. If the refresh blocker has not seen the NSI web progress before, have it hold on to it in a weak set, and if we see an on refresh attempted come in, and if we see an on refresh attempt come in with that same NSI web progress, then show the notification. Okay, I have a plan. I have a plan to deal with this inconsistency. It's not non-deterministic. It is not non-determinism. This is just a difference in ordering depending on two cases, and I want to be able to write tests for both cases. We actually have tests for the meta tag case. It's the other case I have to worry about now. The HTTP header case. All right. So I have a plan. Let's try this plan out. I'd been doing some stuff here. I'm pretty sure I can just check out Central and build it. I don't think I'd done anything freaky, but I'll just run mock build anyways. Here's what I'm thinking. Where do I want to do this? So we have this refresh blocker thing. Browser refresh blocker. One of these exists per browser window. If I give it a weak map, request map, new weak map, or weak set requests, maybe block requests. I don't know if that's the right name for it yet. Being too clever here. So what I'm thinking is, I'm doing this clever thing where the tab browser hears the refresh block thing and then bubbles an event. And I think maybe that's the wrong move. Maybe I was being too clever. Maybe I should use the same mechanism that we use to clear transient notifications here. We have this tabs progress listener. Tab browser.xml refresh blocked. Except that no, there's a reason there's a good reason I did that. There's a good reason we don't want to support the on refresh attempted listener or handler in the parent, and that's because the signature, that function expects to be able to return true or false in such a way that it could block the refresh from occurring, but that doesn't work with the e10s world because that would mean that the content is waiting to hear about whether or not it should allow the refresh to go through, which means it's blocked, which means we sent a sync message from the child, which we don't want to do. So we don't actually want to support on refresh attempted for non-add-ons anyways. So that's why I did it that way. Huh. And yet, I kind of like this solution. Remote web progress. We could make it so that we have on refresh attempted, but ignore the return value of it. The reason I want to do that is because I want to pass this web progress thing, because that's what's going to make sure that we're using the same, like we're talking about the same request. Because I assume there's no such thing as a web progress like ID or something. And even if there was, I wouldn't want to use it, because I wouldn't know how long to hold on to it for. I have the DOM window ID, but that doesn't help us. So I've got this other bit down here in content, tab content.js. This is where the other bits are. On refresh attempted, we'll send a sync message. Sorry, send an async message. Including the web progress, the outer window ID. Shoot, so this original plan's not going to work. Damn it. Sorry for cursing. This is not going to work. I kind of like that plan. And why can't I use it? Why can't I do this? I can't do this because why can't I do this? Maybe I can do this. You add this refresh attempted listener. What am I thinking? What am I thinking about? I don't want to go silent on you. Why can't we do that? What's wrong with that? Let's run it. Let's think about it. Suppose I was starting this bug all over again, the one that originally fixed refresh blocking for E10S. And I knew that this problem existed. How would I do it? Okay. So there's already inside browser child, there's this on refresh attempted thing. I'd have that return false. I'd have this thing send up a message. It would check the pref, return false, and then pass the thing up to the parent. Oh, but the plan that I was talking about would be wrong. Will not work. Okay, that makes me feel better. And the reason it won't work is because every time we receive one of these messages, we create a new web progress. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we're back to the original plan, which was to somehow mark the web progress so that that information survives being like deconstructed, reconstructed. So let's look inside this doc loader thing. Is there an ID to it from some interface? Like what interfaces does it implement? Document loader, request observer. What is NSI document loader? No, that's no good. Request observer, supports weak reference, web progress, interface requester. Gah. What's the load group? Jump to definition. Load group, NSI load group. I've heard of that before. It's a networking thing. The load group maintains a collection of NSI request objects. This is used in lots of places where groups of requests need to be tracked. For example, oh, right. Multiple requests might be going out for a particular page or something, so we have a group. Okay. So back to square one here. Maybe my original approach was the right one. Let's take a look at the feedback that BZ gave us. BZ said that this will set the Boolean on every doc loader, starting at the one that wants to refresh and going up to the one that the NSI web progress listener that blocks the refresh is on. Set the Boolean on every doc loader, starting the one that wants to refresh. In other words, the Boolean really means refresh of me or some descendant was blocked. But we only reset it when me navigates. This seems like a fairly odd setup. I can see how it might work in some special cases. Example, the ones where this Boolean is only queried on the doc loader that the NSI web progress listener that blocks refreshes on. But if that's the case, maybe we should only set the Boolean if we're the doc loader with the relevant NSI web progress listener. That's a good point. That's a good point. What BZ is saying is the way that we set things, the refresh was like blocked or attempted. We should probably only set it if our listeners failed to, and not the parent. Because that will go all the way up to the parent. Yeah, that's odd. I agree. BZ, I agree. Let me rebase this patch on top of what I've currently got. Where was it? What's this called? SI web progress. Great. 1246291, and I have no idea where that is. 1246291. Down there. Oh, I see. Rebase 260 dest central. I use -B because it's going to choose all the things that. Oh, I've got uncommitted changes. What are they? Oh yeah, that experiment that did not pan out. The thought experiment that failed. I use -B because what that means is instead of choosing a very specific set of commits, I just want you to take everything from the node that I've given you all the way to the like the common ancestor. So anything that my destination has never heard of, rebase that on top. Which works usually unless you're on an integration branch and some of the you're trying to rebase on something that hasn't had a merge recently, and so you attempt to rebase things that are published, that have the published phase or public phase. Okay, let's update this patch based on BZ's feedback and open up. What were we at? We were inside DocLoader. So this is wrong. Whoops. If our listeners, if any of our listeners blocked the refresh stash, because then they're the parents. So we might ask the parents, which might ask their parents. It'll go all the way up. Stash that information so that other listeners, so that handlers, other handlers like on location change can know about it. I think that's right. And then, what did Mossop say? Mossop cleared his patch, his review flag, because it's not clear what's going on here. Some more explanation would be helpful. I also like to see a test. Right, so maybe I can write him a test. So let's see if what I've got still fixes things. Because if so, then maybe we've got our solution. We've been waffling and worrying about nothing. Let me commit, actually. If you were watching this is mostly for Vladikov, who sits across from me. If you were waiting for me to work on that Firefox accounts bug, I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm going to get to it. I apologize. HTglog. Okay, so now I'm going to build. I'm just going to build. Ha. Now the other stuff that I added in here, I think we talked about this already, but the refresh was blocked property. I capture that and proxy up to the parent. But yeah, we determined that that's not the right thing to do. Shoot. Shoot. Oh, Vladikov is still cool with this. Alright, I'm glad. This is still no good because the refresh... If a web progress refresh was blocked... We need to remove the transient notifications anyways. And then... Oh, shoot. How are we going to do that? I mean, there's some hackery we could do about, like, removing the notification, clearing them, and then putting it back. Oh, that sucks. What are we going to do here? Let's see. I don't like any of these solutions. To be completely honest, all of these solutions blow. Hey, I'm going to open a door because it's boiling in here. Okay. Oh, I can feel cold air coming in. That's nice. It's helping me think. What are we going to do? The current state of things is that the child in the bad case, the content process, here's the on refresh attempted first, sends a message to the parent, which is received before on location change. The parent hears the message and bubbles an event that is consumed by refresh blocker, which then shows the notification. The problem is that afterwards, on location change shows up, is sent from the child, which then clears the notification. I feel like I've said that like a billion times in different ways, but I just want to get that down. Sends a message to the parent which received before. So one shitty idea is to defer on refresh attempted using a set timeout. And the reason I say it's a shitty idea is because like we've done that before, and like doing the sort of like execute soon defers thing always feels a bit odd. Because it's relying on the location change occurring within the same tick, as opposed to being like, I don't know, maybe that would be enough. I don't really like that solution though. And I don't think I want to stick with this one because this solution, the one that BZ commented on, decorating the web progress is not great. It's all hackery. Every move is hackery. So I'm just trying to find like the least worst thing to do. What's the least worst thing I can do? What's the simplest move? So this is like an Occam's razor sort of situation. The simplest solution is usually the correct one. That's Occam's razor, right? While I'm thinking about my solution, let me just quickly look up what's the definition for Occam's razor. William of Ockham says, the one with the fewest assumptions should be selected. So that doesn't exactly apply. I think Occam's razor is often abused. I think people often just use that phrase and they're not sure what they mean. I'm probably guilty of that too. Okay. Defer on refresh attempted using a set timeout. So I could do that. I could go down here where down in content, tab content.js, I just defer sending this async message. Which is shitty. But what you want is this to show up after the location change handler. So let's try it. Let's try the shitty idea. Set timeout. Do this thing. And then do it after 0 milliseconds. So do it right away, as soon as you can. Let's try the shitty idea. Okay, so I need set timeout. That's timer. There's a pcom utils. What is it? I think it's just timer. Yeah. Double quotes, single quotes. We apparently use double quotes here. So let's see. I think this might fix it. Is it reliable? No idea. Whoops, wrong profile. No, no. Quit fat fingering, Mike. There we go. So let's go to MXR. I've got E10S enabled, right? Yes, I do. Do I have the refresh thing disabled? Yep. Sorry, so I'm gonna get the warning. Okay, so that works because we defer. That's the simplest solution. is it guaranteed every time? Not really. I don't think so. Oh, I hate that. I hate that. Is there a better way? Because what's the problem with this? So what's the problem with the set timeout solution? The problem with this is that it assumes that the other handlers on state change, on location change, etc., are going to run synchronously after on refresh attempted is fired. Is that a safe assumption? I don't know if it is. I could ask. I don't know if I want to. Here, I'm gonna see if Smog's around. I'll ask Smog. Hey, if I have an NSI web progress listener and a page that's using refresh in an HTTP header to refresh the page, are there any guarantees that the on state change, on location change, etc. will be fired on the same tick of the event loop as on refresh attempted? Something says no, but maybe. Okay, what's another solution? We need to delay. Oh, hold on. Remember that plan I was talking about using a web progress and like a set and stuff? We could do it down here. Where if we see a web progress go by down here, so we add an on location change handler in here, and then if we've never seen the web progress before, we add it to a set. If we have, we send the message. I think that would work. It depends, because we need to make sure that the on location change handler this on location change handler would run after the browser child on location change handler. Let's investigate that. So hang on. So the question, what if I use the weak set plan but down in refresh blocker in tab content.js? Would that work? So in that plan, we add an on location change handler and a weak set. Let's run through the scenarios. Scenario 1. On location change is fired first, and then on refresh attempted. In that case, we add the NSI web progress to the weak set. When on refresh attempted is fired, we see if on refresh if the NSI web progress is in the set, and if so, send the message. Scenario 2. On refresh attempted is fired first, and then on location change. In that case, we add the NSI web progress to the weak set. I think it might be the same thing. When on location change is fired, we see if the NSI web progress is in the set, and if so, send the message. I think it's the same. It's like almost like a, not a locking mechanism, but it's just like a green, green, then go. And we use the weak set to hold on to the thing that indicates green from the other. So you enter one, and then you check to see if the other has seen it. If not, store it, and we're done. If so, send the message, but if not, store it and we're done. And that's it. And because it's a weak set, it'll just drop. It'll drop the entry if neither of them do anything. This might actually work. We might have a plan here, folks. We may have drilled in on a plan only an hour in. All right, let's see where we're at. So I'm on central again. I got this refresh handler. I'm going to add an on location change. What is the call? What does the signature of that look like? On location change, and then that. Okay. Blam. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do it the new school way. If and then we have a weak set. Requests weak set, new weak set. Our web progress is web progress set. If this dot web progress set has a web progress, this dot you know what? It should be a weak map, because this data comes in only through the on refresh attempted. So we should have a progress map, weak map, mapped on progress, on location change. If it has it, then this dot send this dot web progress set get a web progress. And for on refresh attempted, it'll be slightly different. You know what? We might be able to Might be able to do some stuff here. There's some optimization work I can do here as well. But, okay. Let's just not worry about that right now. We need to worry about the other case. Otherwise, this.web progress set a web progress null. And then, or maybe set it to the empty object. I'll set it to null. And then here, if this.web progress set has a web progress, then we can just gather the material we need. So like we should definitely gather the material we need first, because no matter what, we're either stashing it or sending it here. So we get the window, we get the outer window ID. We're going to get the URI, the delay. Smaug says, I don't know, I'd have to read the code. Okay, don't worry about it. The outer window ID. So like, let data equal this, basically. Bam. I feel better about this plan than the other one, certainly. If we have the web progress, then this dot send data, else this dot web progress set a web progress data, and then so we have the send function now. Send data. Send data, which is kind of silly why we wrap that, but okay. That might do it. This weak map, web progress map. I'm gonna not use set, it's map now. Oh man, okay, this might work. Folks, this might work. Close the door a little bit. We may have stumbled upon a solution. Live. I hope I'm recording this. I am. Good. One time I had like this really great episode, and I fixed a bunch of bugs, and I accidentally didn't record it. So for like the 5 people who are watching, they got a great episode, and like I felt so bad about accidentally not recording it. It's the lost episode that was so amazing that I felt so good about. Okay, so let's see if let's recreate the issue. What? Cannot use the given object as a weak map key. Oh, why can't we use a web request as a weak map key? Why? That ruins the plan. This ruins the plan. Can't use the given object as a weak map key. Shit. Okay, why not? Can I? What a roller coaster. There's this message. And that's fired whenever. There's no preserve wrapper callback. What is preserve wrapper callback? Excuse me. Preserve wrapper callback. Set preserve wrapper callback. Preserve wrapper. What is preserve wrapper? It has to be a DOM object. Oh no, it's not a DOM object. Okay, for a Paris DOM bindings object. This operation will return false only for non-NSI supports cycle collected objects. Damn it! Like, if I just turn this into a map, that'd be great. That would probably totally work. Except now I'm leaking memory. Let's prove it. Let's see if it works. It doesn't work. Now, why is that? Content, toolbox. So there are multiple levels of problems. What is the problem here? We're going to do this, and we're going to do this. So, what happens? First of all, we see a refresh is attempted. Got the pref set. Bam. And then, what? The web progress map has the web progress? Are you sure? I need the console to find out. True. Oh boy. So it works the second time. Oh, and then on location change happened. Wait, was on locate? Oh, because I see. I see. Two problems. Interface NSI web progress. Oh. It's the same one each time. Oh. They're not like disposed of. It's the same web progress each time. Okay. That's handy. If it's the same web progress each time, on refresh attempted. Then this kind of changes things. I've learned This might actually work. Strike through. Or format. Strike through. This will not actually work. What's interesting is that an NSI, was it? Web progress exists per doc shell. And so we're going to get the same one each time for each doc shell. Unless it's a subframe. That's doing the reload. Refresh. Okay, so that changes the design somewhat. I do feel like we're on the right track though. We've changed the design, or we're changing things a little bit. What are we gonna do here? If anyone has, everyone's got any plans, or like not plans, if everyone's got any like suggestions here, cause man, pain in the ass. Hold up. Martin, if you're watching this, hello. Great to see your face in Twitter. I was, yes, guilty. I was just looking at Twitter just now because my phone went off, but I've also been thinking. Sometimes I have to take a break and think a little bit. So what do I want to do here? It's basically it's this locking mechanism that I'm looking for. Of I want a thing to only occur if both have occurred. And saw refresh attempted. If on location change occurs, and then on state change, on state change says that the whole sequence is done, probably. That might be when we clear anything. So like NSI web progress path state notify web progress listener NSI web progress listener state stop. Flag indicates the completion of request. So if we see a state stop, we know the whole thing has gone through. And maybe that's what we do. We'll wait until we see a state change to state stop. Progress change. What am I thinking of here? Add progress. Add progress listener. Add progress listener. For us to observe the loading is usually no, may be arranged in a parent-child configuration corresponding to the parent-child configuration to the respective DOM. However, in some cases, a web progress instance may not have an associated DOM window. There are children of that web progress, so we might receive information about the children. Okay. This is all useful information. So I'm going to axe this plan. This plan is axed. Let's revert. Let's revert. I'm getting out of here. Don't save. Close everything. Boom. Close. Boom. Close. Everything. Don't do it. No. I didn't mean to save that. Revert. Revert everything. HG. Do it. Bail out. Revert all. Hard. Force. Alright. And we're back where we started. Revert. Revert everything. Revert the world. Now let's go back to where we were. Now we've done freaking out. Here's what I'm thinking. You know, we used to, hang on refresh attempt. Let me look inside, ironically, let me look inside MXR. Whoops. And I don't know if, do I have that preference set still? I have to actually use MXR right now because I want to search release. On refresh attempted. I want to look inside here. Whoops. Because did we only ever warn if it was for the top level? No, it was for any of them. It was for any of them. Okay. How do I want to do this? Okay, you have this. We have this tree of web progress things. They're all doing their thing. One of them in this tree says refresh attempted, which we hear about. What do we do? Currently, we send a message to the parent with the outer window ID immediately before the location is changed. Like, because this might be an iframe that's doing the HTTP header thing. All right. How about this? Each request comes with a DOM window, which I think I can put into a weak set. If a refresh is attempted, we will add the DOM window to the weak set. And then on stop request, we'll check to see if the window is in the weak set. And if so, that's when we send up the data. So we'll always send it at the very, very end, after the request has finished, either via the user pressing stop or the request completing. The only problem with that is we will not show the notification for long-running page loads, because we won't keep going until we get the stop. Is there any other states that we need to that we might be interested in? State stop. Is document state type. State restoring, the security, loading content, on security change, on state change, on progress change. NSI request going through as well as the NSI web progress. The request. And there's the page itself. We might want to wait until state stop. For document requests, a second state stop is generated. See the description of state is window. This flag indicates that the state transition corresponds to the start or stop of activity that indicated the flag is combined with the state start or state stop and may be combined with other state type flags. However, when a document request completes 2 on-state change calls with state stop or generated, the document request is passed as a request to both calls. First has state as request and state as document set. The second has state as window flag set. The second state stop event may be useful as a way to partition the work that occurs when a document request completes. This flag indicates that the state transition corresponds to the start or stop activity in the indicated web progress instance. Whereas, which includes but is not limited to document requests. So it might be other things. So we want to wait for state is Windows, state stop. Unlike state is window for state is network, this flag is only set when activity within the NSI web progress instance being observed starts or stops. And child NSI, then this flag will be set to indicate the start and stop of the activity. Indicate the start and stop of activity. State is network. Okay. State transition for document request. A document request is not complete until all requests associated with the loading of all its corresponding documents have completed. This includes other document requests. A document request is available via the DOM window. So hang on a second. It's similar to state as document. However, when a document request completes 2 on-state change calls with state stop are generated. The document request is passed. The first has state is request and state is document set. And the second has state as window. Document request completes. So maybe we should use state stop on state is window. So fallbacks, what we can do, maybe we can listen to state stop on state change and only send messages if we saw a on refresh attempted. Before getting there, because the list of events was like blah 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 blah, then on state change at the very end. That might be good enough. Let's try it. Let's see what they think. So it's 2:30 right now. I don't think I'm gonna have enough time to write a test, but let's see if I can. Oh, general advice from Jared. I don't know where he's saying that. Let me see where he's saying that. On the internet somewhere. Where'd you say that, Jared? Oh. Oh, okay, this is unrelated. This is more to do with scheduling interviews for other things. Okay. So, here's the experiment. We're going to add on state change. That's the on state change, right? On state change, status change? On state change, which takes a web progress, a request, a state flags, and a status. We're going to use that weak set again. Blocked windows, new weak set. On refresh attempted. Let's actually do the map thing again instead of weak set, blocked map, blocked windows, but we'll say it's a weak map. And then this is the data that we want. Let data equal that. This dot blocked windows set win data. So that will block the refresh. Then on state change, if let win, again, we'll do it only on condition here. There's some optimization work we can do, but don't worry about it. Let win equals a web progress DOM window. If this dot blocked windows has blocked windows has hold up has win then we will send the async message. Let data equal this dot blocked windows get win, send the data up. Okay. But only if the state change was stop. If a state flags and CI, was it state stop? State, there's two that we want. State is window and state stop. State flags. Yeah. If state flags and that and a state flags and state stop. And this dot blocked windows dot has win. It's not the best, but let's see. Then we will do that work. We'll get the data and we'll send it. So now we have to make sure that we will notify. Let's just notify all for now. Add progress listener. Let's just notify all. Let's make sure that that's the right one, right? Notify all. It looks to be the case. Tab listener pro notify all, notify all. Okay. So let's see what happens now. That's unrelated. That has to do with statuser. Hey, that's the one we wanted to see. Great. Now what about the other case? The other case was... Wait, what? Oh, after that we should probably clear it. On state change, if blocked windows, this stop blocked windows, delete win. Here. Allow cbc.ca. Now let's go to another site that's going to cause a refresh blocked. One that there was that like example in here. Here. Whoops. This meta refresh page. Perfect. Allow it. And now in non-etns. Perfect. Allow it. mxr.mozilla.org. Alright, so I think we've got a solution here. I don't know if it's the best one, and there's some optimization work to do, but I think we've got a solution. Okay, that appears to work. And I think we're going to go with that plan, with the trade-off being that we can handle this case, but we have to wait until the state SI web progress has hit state stop before we'll show the notification bar. Notification bar. Should make sure Kanakistani is aware of that. Okay, to do. Inform Kanakistani about state stop trade-off. Okay. Blam! Hey, we did it, I think. We came up with something anyways. You know what, I probably could have done... I could do it with location change as well, and instead, like, do what we were doing before, except use the DOM window, which isn't the worst thing. DOM window, and then when we send, we clear out the set. Or we just delete the entry. Maybe I'll do that. That way we don't have this trade-off. Okay, I'll do that. So we've got a solution here, people. We went from 0 to hero. Let me pull up OBS so I can make sure that I'm still broadcasting. Hey, all right. Hey, everyone. Hey. So we made some good progress today. Switching to my big camera. Hey. So that was episode 45. That wasn't so bad. We got from what we gonna do to an actual potential plan here, and you got to see it happen. So hopefully that was interesting. We went through a number of questionable plans, some weaker approaches. This is one of those bugs where there are several different ways of fixing it and all look bad. This one, the one that we've narrowed in on right at the end, I think might be the best one. I think it's the most robust. So it strikes me as the one that will survive any changes to like doc shell or doc viewer or anything like that. And it doesn't require me to change doc viewer or doc shell or anything, which is nice. Okay, so that was episode 45. Hang on a second. I'm going to go back to my screen again because there is stuff I want to read. So, first of all, did you know you can subscribe to this live hacking stream using iTunes or Kodi or whatever the cool people are using these days? Yeah, there's an RSS feed. If you go to this link here in the agenda, if you subscribe to that RSS feed, you can get episodes dropped in every Wednesday without you having to go anywhere. Your iTunes or Kodi or what have you will just get it for you when they're published. That's pretty cool. I don't know if that works for the live streams. It might, but I don't know. Richard could let us know. And speaking of Richard, if you're interested in making your own live hacking show, or it doesn't have to be live hacking, it could be live QA, live documentation writing, live bug hunting, live triage, live performance work, whatever, come talk to myself or Richard in Hash Live Hacking. We'd love to get a show set up for you. We'd love to get more content put up on air.mozilla.org. And we think it's great to show other people what it is that we do. So put a show together. It doesn't even have to be. You don't even have to talk. You don't have to talk like this. You can just play music, play like techno as you rip through some work. Who knows? Anyways, that's one thing I want to talk about. The final thing I want to say is, please rate this episode. Let me know what you thought. There's a link here in the agenda. I want to know what you thought, and I want to know what I can do to make this show better for you. I want to know what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of, and that really will help to make this stream work for you, the audience, and that's who I'm doing this for. So please do that. And that's it. I'm calling it. Thank you so much for watching episode 45 of The Joy of Coding. I hope it was a pleasant one. I hope you got something out of it. I will see you next week for episode 46. Have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.